I think at one point Gibby Haynes like jizzes onto a skillet, and it spells out Satan. I think.
The most Butthole Surfers thing ever.
I don't know how you want to do this format. I mean, I took notes. I didn't like summarize the movie or anything. I didn't do like what you guys do on I Hope You Suffer, what we do for other stuff. So, because like at this point, we've all seen it and probably other people have seen it. So I'm sure Nathan can just summarize the plot. You watched it 4 times.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to do something at work besides work.
You've seen this though before, right, Nathan?
Me? Yeah. I saw this like in the 90s.
Oh, so
When
you're
it
one of
happened.
your $10 was some of the $30,000 that it made, or whatever the fuck.
I saw it not in a theater. Like it was after it came to like VHS. I remember renting it because I was obsessed with Bill and Ted as a kid. So.
As one is.
And still am.
Yep.
I do feel like I am the kid in this group though. Like I probably don't relate to Bill and Ted the way you guys like grew up with it.
Well, that's okay.
I have like distinct memories of forcing my grandpa to take me to see Bogus Journey when it came out, like the day it came out. I was probably like 11 or something when that came out.
I feel like Bill and Ted I constantly saw reruns, maybe on like TBS or TNT for like years.
Yeah.
And then I finally got around to like actually watching them all the way through. At least the first one. I feel like when I sat down and watched Bogus, it was less familiar to me, but I was like, oh my gosh, this movie's amazing.
Yeah, it's so good.
I haven't seen Bogus. I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the new one either, actually.
But I am of the unpopular opinion that Bogus is better than Excellent.
Oh 100%. Yeah, that's not an opinion in my apartment for sure, because Sarah fucking loves the first movie and she does not like Bogus.
I mean, like they're both like I'd put them both pretty high on that pedestal. I wouldn't say like I don't necessarily think I guess I can't say one's necessarily better than the other. I think I rewatch Bogus more because I think it's funner.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, if I had to pick one over the other, I'd go Bogus any day of the week.
It's like Alien versus Aliens. Like they're both.
I was just gonna say that.
Perfect. You know.
Yes. Well, and for a long time, I would joke that this was, before Face the Music came out, I would joke that this was like the long lost Bill and Ted, like end of the trilogy, just because of Keanu's, uncredited role in Freaked. In my head, I was like, yeah, why not? Just make it a weird trilogy with the other two.
I was gonna say is like, especially when you're not expecting that a third Bill and Ted will happen. Like, I don't know how many people would think that like a third Bill and Ted movie would actually happen. And so if we happen to get a movie with the two of them in there that's like close enough in time wise to it, like why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Galaxy Quest is one of the best Star Trek movies, so like why the fuck not?
That movie fucking rules. We just rewatched it recently. It's so good.
It is good.
It's such a great movie. I'm gonna do with the hot take that I actually liked Freak better than Bill and Ted. I think that's a hot take.
Maybe, but I'll go with you.
Yeah, well, that's because you guys aren't just like, oh, he's canceled.
I mean, I grew up I only saw Bogus Journey last year, like in pandemic times. So I don't really. It was just excellent for me that I watched over and over again. And similarly, like I think this is my first time watching it last night, and I mean, it's the surprise of literally everything, including the fact that fucking Keanu Reeves is in this movie.
Did you see how Keanu Reeves made $1 million just doing that role?
Did he really?
Out of the like 12 million to make the whole movie.
That is amazing.
Wow.
Good for him. Well, because I was definitely like, this Ortiz guy, there's something compelling about him. Like, I almost feel like the movie should be about him instead. I'm just like, they've got a really good actor or something. I don't know. And then when Jeremy, you posted on Instagram, I was like, wait, what the hell?
I'm only upset that we couldn't do the reveal
on
here. But I'm sure.
I mean, I'm still processing it. Like, my mind is still sort of like doing somersaults.
It's like once you know that, like, the voice is so just easily picked out once he starts talking.
Yeah,
he does a much better accent in this than he did in Dracula.
Yeah,
I mean, but what's crazy is like looking at his. I'm just now looking at his filmography. What he was. I mean, he had done Point Break, Bogus Journey, My Own Private Idaho, Dracula, and then so that was like 91, 92. Freak came out in 93. Speed came out. I mean, he was like in his element in the early part of his career when he popped in to do this, which is just hilarious to me.
Yeah,
they should remake Speed, but with Ortiz. And they call it Speedy Ortiz.
With a squirrel that distracts him and then the bus blows up. So,
all solid.
John, I'm just curious, what was your and okay, so John, this was your first time. Dylan, you had seen bits and pieces, but this was your first. Okay. Yeah, I'm super curious to get y'all's take since you're so fresh to it.
I had seen it like back just on like cable at like just random points, or like, you had a Friday off and you're just up late watching TV. I'm flipping through the channels like, oh man, the feed on channel 99 is not good tonight. Let's see what's on Encore. And I'm like, what in the Christ is this fucking movie? And it's just such a weird spectacle of a film that, you just keep coming back to it. And then you're like, oh yeah, you heard of it here, whatever. And then all of a sudden Nathan's like, it's the greatest fucking movie ever. So I was like, I'll give this a shot. I thought it was, I had a lot of comments about it, but I thought it was great. I really liked it. Totally. Like the one thing I'll say about it is that I think that in terms of it being a cult film, it's one of the, it definitely lives up to its reputation as a cult film. Like I don't really think Boondock Saints kind of earns its cult status, because I don't think it's like that great of a movie, but this I thought was a way like totally hit the standard of being like a cult movie.
For myself, watching it the first time, knowing nothing about it, like my first two thoughts were UHF and Brazil. Especially the part where William Sadler has the lever that makes the strings on the board members' hands go up.
Oh my God,
I was like,
that part's amazing.
My first thought was, oh God, this is Brazil. I fucking love that shit. And then all the goofy TV, so like they're playing Hollywood Squares. I was like, somewhere Weird Al is like, shaking his fist at the heavens, wondering like, why the hell did I do this?
It does have a UHF vibe. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, UHF I think is a pretty good comparison. Like this movie, like
the movie's good.
I would be really interested to hear like an 18-year-old watch this movie now, because like it's such a product of its time. Like it's the most 90s MTV movie I could imagine outside of like Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Yeah.
There's a ton of like really deep cut references that even I only remember as references from my childhood, not like the original thing, but I just remember things like The Simpsons when I was a kid, riffing on going back even further. So that's the kind of distance that I have that would be wild to show to someone even younger than myself.
I just like picture like trying to explain like Hollywood Squares to like an 18-year-old watching this now.
Or like the Bob Vila reference when he shows up.
Bob Vila. I was like, specifically.
I know that because I grew up watching PBS all the time as a kid.
Who keeps showing up and he's like, oh, here, you could do this with the design of the whatever. Like, I didn't get that, but I understood it enough to be like, this is some weird reference to it. And I thought it was funny that he kept coming back.
Yeah,
Bob Vila was the bane of my existence as a kid because of like Saturday morning when I just wanted to watch cartoons and my dad wanted to watch This Old House.
Yep.
Oh yeah, dude, same thing. I wanted to watch cartoons and my grandparents were like, no, the antique show or This Old House is on. And I'm like, oh, hated that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, since we brought up Galaxy Quest, Bob Vila is basically the real life, hopefully non-shitty, but I've never looked up Bob Vila version of Tim Allen.
That's awesome.
Do you think anybody's looked up Bob Vila to just be like, was Bob Vila problematic?
The only people who care about Bob Vila are our dads, so probably not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm fact checking it now.
Okay, this is forget about Freak. Now this is a Bob Vila cast. Episode 1.
He served in
Vila cast.
Apparently he served in the Peace Corps, so I mean maybe
that's
it was
a good start.
Movie. Oh, speaking of 1993 movies, he made a cameo in Hot Shots Part 2.
Of course he did.
Alan was interviewed by Nintendo Power and asked if he could make a video game. Oh wait, no, that's hold on a second. Bob Vila also appeared on various episodes of Home Improvement as himself, and where he's the rival to Tim Taylor. Contrary to Home Improvement, when Tim Allen was interviewed, why was Tim Allen interviewed by Nintendo Power?
There was a Home Improvement video game, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Wow.
Oh God. I have a question for you. Did any of you watch the Idiot Box that this show or the movie's not based on, but kind of has the same vibe? Like, did you guys watch that?
I did when it aired. I haven't seen it since the 90s.
I mean, there were 6 episodes.
Yeah,
so.
like I was way on board with like what MTV was doing this time with like Idiot Box. They did like Liquid TV.
Yeah.
Like all the like the Max, the Head, Aeon Flux, like all of that shit, I was way on board with.
Yeah, it was. I think a lot of that stuff was sort of on my peripheral, if you will, like because I grew up not being able to watch a ton of TV, and we never had cable, so it was just like whenever I could catch it at a friend's house or if we were traveling somewhere. But so I came to Idiot Box a little bit later, but just loving Alex Winter and his just his comedy, his approach to comedy in general. I think Idiot Box is hysterical, and the beginning of the movie has a shout out to Idiot Box. I mean, the very first line is a reference to Idiot Box. So
that's awesome.
And yeah, I think I've probably said this. I know I've told John this in the years that we've collaborated on different like video projects for Qoheleth, but there's so much about this movie and that sort of MTV vibe from that era that I feel like I'm constantly chasing with a lot of our videos and some of the aesthetic feel of the band in general. Like if Freaked is this sort of like visual aesthetic, I'm like, how do I turn that into like a music vibe? Just because I love this stuff so much. So yeah, I'm fully on board with that whole era.
That kind of. Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say I have to play I'm Canadian and I had much music, therefore I did not get the opportunity to enjoy the. Although now that if it's on the internet somewhere, I would absolutely love to watch it.
Yeah, there's a YouTube channel. It's like Turd Burglar 26 or something.
Of course,
of course.
That has a bunch of this stuff on there. It has like, because Idiot Box was like a few sketches and skits and then music videos. So it's got like for all 6 episodes, it's got a number of the skits, plus like outtakes and some deleted scenes from like Freaked and some other like Alex Winter and Tom Stern projects. So yeah.
It would be really hard, I think, to try to like recreate that vibe now because it's just so specific and I don't even know how you would like really try to do that. Like, I don't know. Like, what are you going to do? Like, do a bunch of like weird, absurdist comedy and then just have like a fucking like power trip video in there? Like, it kind of wouldn't really work now. And, but I do, it's just that era is so specific. And it's interesting too how, like, yeah, MTV was definitely catering towards like it's mass media for all intents and purposes, and yet this still felt like super niche and kind of like, you know, yeah, it's a channel where just fucking throw shit at the wall and see if it sticks. If it gets views, who gives a shit? You know, we're fine as long as we are playing like a Madonna video that's gonna get a bunch of eyes on the TV. Regardless, we can put all this other crazy nonsense on there, and then you wind up getting a person like Nathan out of it.
Somebody who's actively about to watch a movie called Monstered.
Oh my god.
I think the closest to something doing something kind of like what MTV was doing with stuff like Idiot Box now is really just like I Think You Should Leave is probably the closest to just like an extremely weird and like niche comedy that also somehow has like captured the populace.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be that, or maybe, I don't know, one of the lesser seen shows on like Adult Swim or something.
Yeah.
Maybe
I was just gonna say Adult Swim.
like maybe, I mean, I think like, is it Super Jail? I don't know if y'all have seen.
Oh yeah, Super Jail is insane.
I feel, I mean, and even that's in a different like headspace, but I feel like that's at least maybe in the same like zip code or something as like a Freaked or Idiot Box. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So, like I think the thing that this does really well is kind of like obviously not take itself seriously while taking it very seriously. Like,
yeah,
they had something like 4 or 5 different effects teams working at the same time.
Yeah.
And getting like Screaming Mad George alone is like big time shit, especially for like a major, you know, like this was released by Fox.
Yeah.
Which is now Disney, which makes Mr. T's bearded lady a Disney princess, I believe.
Hell yes.
Like,
oh my god, I love that he just was like, he showed up, he was Mr. T, and I'm like, oh, he's just Mr. T. He's still just Mr. T.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I guess you'd really like it would be wildly different. Like whatever show like this now, just because of how like drastically different the times are. Like they're either it's a new movie or a new season of Beavis and Butthead, and I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yeah,
I know. I saw that too. I was like, I don't know.
Well, Nathan, I think you hit on something really important with when we were still living in California. Actually, it was January of 2020, so literally before everything went to shit. They did a screening of Freaked in Hollywood, and we were able to go. April and I went, and it was like a packed house. Which, thinking back on it now, I'm like, that just sounds frightening even to say. I mean, I was sitting like next to my wife on one side and then some complete stranger like all up in my space on the other. But they had a massive panel to talk about the movie after the screening. I mean, Alex Winter, Tom Stern, Henry Rollins was there, Paul Leary, Catherine Hardwicke, John Hawkes. I mean, like so many of the cast and crew. And one of the things that came through time and time again, just as people were reminiscing and talking about the making of it, was there was like so much joy and fun, it seemed like, that they were having making this. And I feel like, Nathan, to your point, that's a huge part of pulling something like this off, where everybody's kind of on the same page in terms of just goofing off and having a ton of fun. Not that you can't have that today. Maybe if anybody were going to try to do something, it's not just a matter of like, let's make it as weird as we want or as offbeat, but everyone truly just seemed like they were having a lot of fun making it. So I don't know, maybe that's part of the secret sauce too.
So this isn't a holy shit, Keanu Reeves is in this movie moment, but you just said the word John Hawkes, and I scooched over to the cast list. I was like, wait, John Hawkes is fucking cowboy. What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's insane that John Hawkes is in this movie.
It's wonderful.
Well, and so I'll drop two more little John Hawkes tidbits. He was in Idiot Box, so he was one of the main cast members of Idiot Box.
God, this dude's been acting forever.
Yeah, and he was kind of the star, the name, the main sort of actor name in the movie, in the little short film that basically led up to this. So this gets to how I was really trying to remember how I first saw this, and I think it was through the Butthole Surfers connection. Because this started as a project for Butthole Surfers after Alex did a short film called like Barbecue Movie or something. And it's basically like this family of squares driving into Texas, and they get like sidelined by basically the Butthole Surfers having like a grill barbecue on the side of the road. And John Hawkes is the father. He's the husband of the family that gets pulled off the side of the road. It was kind of like this weird, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre comedy parody. But I mean, like the film itself is like 11 minutes long, and it's ridiculous, of course. I think at one point Gibby Haynes like jizzes onto a skillet, and it spells out Satan, I think.
The most Butthole Surfers thing ever.
Exactly.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
So, and this is also on YouTube, so you can go find it on YouTube. But anyway, so I think all of that led up to...
It's on Pornhub, too.
Yeah. All of that led up to Freaked, which, again, I think was initially, if I remember correctly, was supposed to be like some sort of like comedy horror vehicle or pilot for Butthole Surfers. Turned out like different iterations. I don't know how it shifted, but essentially Fox got wind of it or got a hold of it and then offered them, I think, more money to make a different but equally weird film, something along those lines.
Yeah, it was supposed to be, from my understanding, a straight up horror movie starring the Butthole Surfers that I think they had pitched for like $100,000.
Yes. Yeah.
And then,
that's right.
like, I forget, I don't, like, the guy's name escapes me at the moment, but whoever was running Fox at the time, like, was like, fuck that, here's like 12 million, make this like as well as possible, because, you know, they're coming off like Bill and Ted, and and then
oops.
And then, well, no, and then, because I guess the guy that greenlit it, Rupert Murdoch, fired him for greenlighting too many weird movies.
Oh, so and this is Rupert Murdoch's fault.
Yeah, and so they got a new guy running Fox, who then they did like a bunch of test screenings, and test audiences fucking hated it because they were coming in and they were like, all right, it's like the new Bill, it's gonna be another Bill and Ted, which it's just not.
Yeah.
And so it just got like cut up to shit. It got like just dumped into, as opposed to this originally the plan of going to, you know, like a wide release, went to 2 screens for like a week in just like LA and New York, and made something like $7,000 or whatever in screen and like theaters, and then just got dumped into home video, sort of, because it's been wildly out of print for years.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about the development of it. I mean, just it's crazy. And that's how Gibby shows up at one point as a crowd member in the
Butthole Surfer connection. Like, that should be a title for something. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
I've always, anytime I've like talked to people about this movie that, you know, like roughly our ages that would have the idea of who the Butthole Surfers are, I always say this movie is like the Butthole Surfers in movie form.
Yes.
I think I feel like maybe I've told Nathan, but I went to go see Gogol Bordello one time in the city, and my mom, because she was also a fan, was there. We went with another family, and she went to the bar to get some drinks, and she looked over and recognized a group of dudes and was like, I know you. And they're like, yeah, you probably do. And it was like some members of the Butthole Surfers. And then we're watching Gogol Bordello, and fucking Gibby Haynes is welcomed up on stage and like just completely blackout, shit-faced drunk. Like he just didn't even know what was going on. He just crawled inside Eugene Hutz's shirt and was just, he wasn't even saying, he's like sing the words, and Gibby's just like just, he was a complete mess. They had to just kind of push him off stage because he was so crocked.
That's hilarious.
What a king.
Well, and then the video of him, I'm sure you guys have seen the video that I saw it recently of him at Lollapalooza when he starts shooting a shotgun at like water bottles in the air.
Yeah, they're the best.
they were the best. Well, and that was the fun thing about the screening was Paul Leary was there, and they had him set up on stage with a guitar and a little like combo amp. And so there are like 3 or 4 key moments in the film, like when they first get the goo put on them, and you hear like the guitar in the soundtrack. It's an instrumental, just starts going crazy. That's him playing. And so when we were watching the movie live, he's like up near the screen, and he's like playing his guitar parts along with the soundtrack.
Wow, that's fucking rad.
But when we get to the panel, and people asked him a couple of questions about the whole process and the music, he was like, I can't remember for the life. He was basically like, yeah, I was stoned out of my mind. I don't remember much at that time at all.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I feel like anybody that was in the Butthole Surfers probably doesn't remember like a solid decade
probably
of their career.
Yeah. You don't do what they did, either musically or recreationally, and keep all your brain cells.
Did anyone see the trivia thing that like Johnny Knoxville was Keanu Reeves' stand-in for movie poster shoots?
No, yes. I didn't see that.
So the thing on IMDb says, according to his Instagram, Johnny Knoxville worked as a stand-in and photo double for Keanu Reeves on this film. Due to Keanu Reeves having to be somewhere else, Johnny actually appears in the poster as the Dog Boy character.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you see he's going to be on SmackDown? Because
he's entering the Royal Rumble.
Yes, he snuck up on Sami Zayn and knocked him out of the stage, and they're just like, it's Johnny Knoxville! He's going to be in the Royal Rumble!
That's hilarious.
He's gonna get so hurt.
Yeah.
He's probably going to get thrown out like immediately.
Yeah. I bet. Yeah. I kind of hope it's one of those things that it's like just for like the press, they let him stay in it for like 30 minutes.
He avoids every attack.
They recently put out a newer trailer for Jackass Forever, and I noticed in this trailer versus the first trailer is just, let's pull at your heartstrings. The guys are getting out there doing it one more time. And this new trailer, very interestingly, has the introduction of like new cast members, and like that could just be because of like BAM shit or whatever. Like, but it occurs to me that like, oh, they're having new people come in, possibly because these guys are really old and can't do this shit anymore.
Yeah, I think because if you watch the first trailer, there's some of those people are in it. You just have to like pay attention, and like, I assume the plan probably originally was for this to come out last October and then probably spin off into like a TV show again or some shit with like the new cast. But
yeah,
I just saw Eric Andre and was like, I mean, I'm in. Oh yeah, you know what? See, I feel like Eric Andre probably watched Freaked and enjoyed it, because I definitely get the same kind of vibe of his show, because it has that like cable access TV kind of vibe, you know. There was that other guy on MTV, like Jake Fogelnest had a show like that.
Now all I want is Eric Andre to remake Freaked.
Oh my god,
as Ricky Coogan.
Yeah, that'd be incredible.
I was texting Jeremy last night that Randy Quaid in this movie is giving me some real Will Forte energy, and so in this remake, I want to put up Will Forte as
would
Randy
be good.
Quaid.
Yeah, I'm in.
Randy Quaid, best known, as I noted, best known for being crazy and somehow also related to Dennis Quaid. I just can't believe they're related. He is crazy. He was like crazy.
He's like out of his mind now.
Yeah, he's certifiable now, right? I mean,
he's the kind of crazy that I kind of appreciate, and not the kind of crazy that just exists in the United States now.
He's like, if he didn't have such shitty kind of like political opinions and shit,
never mind.
I think he would be that like Gary Busey level of like, like this dude's obviously out of his mind, but we're still gonna give him work, as opposed to where Randy Quaid is out of his mind and just a shitty person.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, that movie, like, just quick tangent, but like that movie you talked about with Shane, with Gary Busey.
Oh, Hider in the House.
That episode had me laughing pretty fucking hard. That movie sounds so bizarre.
It fucking rules. It's like Gary Busey's legitimately pretty fucking good in it. It's like right around that time where he was being taken seriously as an actor before he kind of went off the deep end. So he's like actually good in it.
Before his lobotomy.
Yeah.
Besides, obviously, Alex Winter and Keanu and Randy Quaid, like, and Mr. T and John Hawkes, there's just so many people in this movie, because you also have Bobcat Goldthwait as the sock guy, who was probably one of my favorite mutants. I love the part when they take the sock off of them, and they're just like, "Hey, this is a sham."
He still has a fucking hand for a head.
And they're just like, "That's bullshit."
This is my favorite character in the whole movie.
He's great.
Oh, God.
There's a guy in this movie who was later in Crazy Rich Asians, and his name's John Chu, and he plays the Stewie monster. Like, he's like the guy inside of it, which is like kind of weird to think that he had a stint as like a suit actor. I think we mentioned William Sadler, Brooke Shields in a very weird role.
Yeah, I there's a part of me that's like, I would like to know how Brooke Shields got into this movie, because that seems a bit.
She also got really high billing.
Yeah. Well, and then of course the revelation at the end that she's actually just Randy Quaid.
Yeah, so bizarre. Morgan Fairchild, who, when I read on her Wikipedia that she said that she was kidnapped twice in the 70s, which makes me just think she was part of the Satanic Panic.
Oh my gosh.
I would like to point out Arturo Gil, who plays a clown in this movie, who was Station in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Nice.
This movie does have a connection to my first appearance on I Hope You Suffer, because Megan Ward is also an Encino Man. Derek McGrath, I think is he the guy that plays the worm?
Yeah.
I haven't seen Bloodsport 4 or 1, 2, 3, but he's also in this Canadian movie that I read about called The Marijuana Conspiracy, which I was like, ooh, that sounds stupid. Maybe I'll watch it. It's a 2-hour film about Canadian women smoking weed for 98 days as like a medical research thing. So I decided that sounded really boring and would just watch something else.
I mean, weed is legal here, so I could just make that as a documentary if y'all want.
Just film your like wife smoking and like just doing the dishes and like doing whatever around the house, and then watching like some funny videos on her phone.
Yeah. All right. Day 100's up. All right. Time to knock it off. All right. Now to get some government funding to edit this and put it out.
Honey. She's like just dead asleep. Has never slept better. Let's see. Oh, Lee Ehrenberg.
Yeah.
Puppet pirate from Pirates of the Caribbean.
So, interesting connection to what we were talking about earlier. So Tom Stern, who co-wrote this with Alex Winter, I'm assuming probably somewhat helped direct it, but probably didn't get credit for it.
I think they're credited
co-directors.
I usually just see it as like Alex Winter, but he directed a bunch of episodes of this really fucking bizarre live action Adult Swim show called Sal of the Mole Man.
What?
That was about this guy who gets just trapped in like the middle of the earth.
Oh my
and it's got like a bunch of people that, you know, because it was live action, so it had like Dana Snyder, who's the voice of Master Shakes, like, you know, in person in a bunch of the episodes. It's a really weird show. I think Arturo Gil from who played Station is in it as well.
Oh.
Actually, it looks like Alex Winter was in 5 episodes as King Bullman.
Oh my gosh. I gotta check this out. That's
I have to watch this. It sounds great.
Hard to find because they never like. It was a show that aired, I think, just one season, and for a while, the only way you could get it on any sort of physical media is Adult Swim would burn you a DVR and send it to you.
Really?
Man, they do the best fucking merch.
I don't think it's it's just never been streaming on anything. So it might be on YouTube. Like people may have uploaded episodes on YouTube, but I haven't seen it since it originally aired.
Wow. Well,
the theme song is performed by Trey Parker from South Park.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Wow.
Unfortunately, he also directed 43 episodes of The Man Show. So, you win, you lose, I guess.
Tom Stern?
Yeah.
Maybe he needed work.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I assume.
And he's working on, actually, I mean, not to make this all about Butthole Surfers, but
a documentary.
The documentary now.
Oh, well, that sounds cool.
Actually, I gotta shout out my boy Tim Burns as the Frogman, mostly because
my god, the Frogman was amazing.
my favorite, my take on this movie is that it's amazing that this niche humor was put together with a budget that it has. You could do these days, if you wanted to have any kind of serious budget, it has to have you have to be able to merchandise and sequelize and expand. It has to be a proper IP, right? Or you can do something that is as niche as this is, but without the budget. But someone fucking gave these idiots tens of millions of dollars to do this exact thing, and every character, every costume design, mutation, everything is just gloriously specific. And then there's fucking Frogman, who's just a guy in a scuba suit. Absolutely my favorite.
So fucking good.
I Frogman.
I liked, my two favorites were Sockhead, the hideous Frogman, whoever the eternal fart guy was. That was really good.
That's Lee Ehrenberg.
Because there's a number of scenes where they just they'll do a group shot. Yeah, they'll do a group shot and he's just blasting fire, and it's just happening, and but maybe the best part is the fucking hammer that starts out as a wrench. Just insane and ridiculous.
It's the continual commitment to stupid bits.
Everyone gives it 150%.
Yeah,
that's the thing I appreciate about it is how one of my favorite things in comedy is when and I think it's something that I think You Should Leave does really well of just taking a joke and just beating it into the fucking ground to the point where it's you kind of are this is funny, and then you're just okay, stop, and then it gets funny again.
Yeah.
And one of the jokes in this movie that maybe my favorite joke of the whole movie is when the little kid Stewie is trying to get to news organizations and keeps getting thrown out the window,
from the glass door.
And then he finally gets somebody. They're all right, we're gonna take this story, write this kid a check.
The Weekly World, isn't it the Weekly World News?
I can't remember if it's actually Weekly World News or if it was a joke off it, but I know it's that idea. But when they're write him a check and show him the way out, and he's I know the way out, and just runs through the window himself.
It's great. It's great comedic timing. It's funny visually, and the writing is really good, and it never feels pedantic. Nothing just feels stale. I love that part, but there's another part with the newspaper that I thought was funny, and I can't. Oh, it's at the end when the FBI shows up, and they're "What took you so long?" They're "Well, we had to deal with the alien invasion, and then we had to go investigate Bigfoot, and then we found you."
And everyone's "Yeah, that makes sense."
Yeah.
The child of Satan in the house that dripped blood.
Yes.
I gotta say, I've in the last couple of years realized about myself that I have a very low tolerance for child endangerment in movies. Don't like it, but the amount of violence that happens to that kid, and he just keeps getting back up, fucking hilarious.
When he gets sucked out of the
airplane,
and then the stewardess, and then
he lands on the ground,
and then the stewardess who goes over, she's "Oh, let me close that." After getting his head crushed in the door too,
and he crashed and he lands, and then he's "Hey, I'm okay," and the book hits, and he's "Oh!"
That kid's so good. Like, most child actors aren't great. He's killing it in this movie.
Yeah. I think that's one thing I noticed this time around watching it again was, every scene with Stewie just made me howl. Like, something about this time around, every scene he was in, and I don't know why I hadn't noticed it, or again, maybe I was just in the right headspace, but the part where he's like, "I'm your soulmate, Ricky," like, I don't know why, it just had me in stitches. And so the fact that they, from that point on, were like somehow telepathically linked throughout the rest of the movie, just I don't know.
I think they were probably like lampooning the little kid trope from an 80s movie, and that's why I liked it, because I fucking can't stand a lot of little kids in 80s movies. I think they're annoying as hell.
The joke when like he gets brought in with the EES group and they're talking to Elijah, and he's like communicating with Ricky, and he's just like, I'm in the lab, and Elijah's like, oh, not only is he ugly, he's crazy too. Right. He's just screaming, I'm in the lab, out loud. Does anybody have like favorite quotes in this movie?
My god, so many good lines in this movie.
My favorite is 12 milkmen is theoretically possible, 13 is silly.
Yes.
Well, and also with that, just, that's a lot of milkmen on one route. No wonder they fight.
Right. Yeah.
This movie had so many good lines.
Anytime the Rastafari.
I was gonna say, if you want to talk about the most commitment to the fucking dumbest joke, having two security guards that are giant eyeballs named I, and they speak with chipmunk Jamaican accents.
When they shoot
guns,
when they shoot the sock, and they're just like, that sock full of holes, Bond. I fucking lose it every time.
Amazing. I loved the eyeballs. They were great.
So stupid.
When Alex Winter is doing his sort of farewell speech before he's about to get transformed again, and he's trying to like, say meaningful goodbyes to everyone, and Nosy, he just goes up to Nosy and he's like, suck my dick. He's like, fair enough, and then just keeps going.
Like, Nosy, I never really liked you.
I think this is probably a cameo, but I don't know the guy's name. But when they're in the tent, and it's the first time he shows up, there's two times this, but it's the old guy with glasses and the camcorder.
Oh, okay. So that guy,
I know I should know who that is. But...
His name is Calvert DeForest, and I looked it up, and I don't know him like specifically from anything, but this is probably like another like weird connection, is that he actually has an appearance in the 9 Inch Nails micro movie Closure.
No way.
He has an appearance in it. I don't know if it's part of like the Broken movie or whatever, but he does show up in like a 9 Inch Nails live / microfilm that they made, which I thought was like pretty fucking interesting. And
that's funny.
I mean, that also just sounds like a product of the time. Like, of course, he's just going to be like, sure, I'll appear in this movie as like an extra. Like, why not? I've never seen that movie. My buddy has seen it because he's a huge 9 Inch Nails fan. It's pretty gross. Like, I think a guy's dick gets like destroyed by a drill in it.
Yeah, that's in the Happiness and Slavery video. I have that VHS. I'm gonna have to now keep an eye on that for him.
That's awesome that you have it. My buddy has it too. They're not exactly easy to come by anymore.
No, they were never printed on anything other than the VHS copies.
But when he shows up the first time, and it's just, I don't know why, it just always makes me laugh. But he was like, "What's the matter? Afraid of a little rough stuff? Welcome to show business, you morons." I mean, it's out of nowhere, and I think it's just him and his delivery. I also, the part where Ricky lures the original milkman, who is also played by Tom Stern. So Tom Stern shows up as the milkman, and then again as he and Alex Winter both play the sensitive guys who lead the show. But when he shows up as the milkman, and he's like, "I just, pooped out a turd the shape of Kim Basinger, and she's naked." And then when he goes in, he's like, that doesn't look like Kim Basinger. Maybe a little bit like Winona Ryder, but okay." It's just so stupid.
I would say probably my favorite part was when I don't remember exactly what they were saying, it was about, but they say to Randy Quaid, "You're not supposed to have that." And he goes, "Oh, I guess I'm not supposed to have these either." And he pulls out 2 towels from the Ramada Inn.
Yeah,
Amazing.
When Randy Quaid does the big reveal to the board of his plans for a bigger and larger, like, and it's much the cloth or whatever is covering it over, and you're expecting something much huger, and it's just a slightly bigger version of the exact same thing.
Yeah. We'll kick Disney's dead ass. I think that's what he says to the guys. And they're like, we own Disney or something.
He's like, oh, I hated Bambi. And he's like, yeah, but what about when they killed the mom? I'm like, well, I did like that part.
Oh, man.
We talked about it a little bit, but the special effects design work in this movie is fucking incredible. Like, I can only assume based on the looks that like a majority of it is Screaming Mad George, although I know there was like 4 or 5 teams working on makeup at the same time just
all
to
the gooey stuff, definitely
get it done. Well, I feel like Screaming Mad George specifically probably is responsible for like Ricky and Stewie at the end when they're like the super mutants.
Yeah.
You know, what's interesting about the end is that for years I saw like pictures and clips of those 2 characters and never knew what they were from. So then when I was watching the movie, and I'm sure that you know exactly this kind of situation where you've seen a movie, but you only ever see it from about 20 minutes in, and then you watch like 45 minutes of it or whatever, and you never see like the actual ending. So that was this kind of movie for me. So when that popped up, I was like, oh, so that's what this is from. It's like, you have that image in the back of your head of this bizarre, obscure thing. And then when you finally see what it is, it's kind of like a weird relief. Like you didn't just make it up. It is something, or you're not just like a crazy person.
Right. Yeah.
It's also like the design of Ricky as like the super mutant looks so much like fuck, I can't think of the artist's name. He did like all of those shit where it's like the rat and like a fucking hot rod or whatever.
Coop? Are you talking about the art of Coop?
Maybe.
Or no. Is it Ed something?
I'll look it up. Let me see
like
if I can find it.
Yeah, like skateboard artwork.
Yeah,
it's like the rat and the drag car, right?
Yeah. I know like that artist did like a Ramones box set that I'm like, it's what's like specifically coming to mind.
Rat Fink, right? And Big Daddy Roth.
Is that what it is?
Okay.
Yeah, he was the guy who did here I'll
where like their eyes are like popping out everywhere and shit. Like he's like very distinct art.
Ed Roth and Rat Fink. But yeah, Big Daddy Roth. Yeah.
I just sent it in the private chat if you just want to look at it and confirm.
Nope.
Yeah, it's that vibe. It's definitely like that weird. I remember like because it was the kind of artwork that you'd be looking at, and if it was on like an MTV bumper, all of a sudden it would be like animated.
Yeah.
They did a lot of that stuff. Like it was very good to do like fluid animation over.
Totally. There's something you guys said that I'm trying to think.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just call out because my better half isn't here. The thing that caught her the most attention was the reference to the Blue Lagoon.
Yeah.
Because again, I don't know too much about Brooke Shields, but she was like, "That's a Brooke Shields joke about a movie she's been in." I was like, "Oh, I don't understand that reference."
It's the one that she wasn't in. That's why it's.
She was in
funnier.
Blue Lagoon, and
she
then
was in the original.
Return to Blue Lagoon, and then she's like, "Oh, I heard that sucked."
I like what was that part when they're like underground and there's like that bizarre like they're like the lost city of Nod, and I'm like, that's some weird obscure bullshit that they're and it's just like a drawn picture that flips by. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
It's a slideshow.
It's so
clicking of like family vacation photos.
But I actually looked it up, and it's like because I was wondering too, the land of Nod, which I guess is maybe different from the city of Nod, is actually some sort of reference to like where Cain and Abel. Like when
I was gonna say that sounds like some Bible shit.
Yeah, it was like when...
actually where my head went was High on Fire.
Yeah,
High on Fire also draws on that too.
Because there's a High on Fire song called like Return to Nod or something like that. I immediately thought, oh, wow, man, I'm glad I'm not the only fucking person that thought of that.
Yeah, apparently it was. I mean, if it's the same thing, if it's like the city of Nod or the land of Nod, the idea was, I guess that's where Cain was exiled after murdering Abel.
I'm so glad we have a Bible expert here. Shit. Mr. PhD.
It's what I do.
Jeremy was flexing a little.
No, I looked it up. I mean, it was one again. I mean, I've seen this so many times, but as I was making notes, that part happened. I was like, okay, this is like some sort of Great Escape riff / montage or whatever as they're tunneling through, and then it gets to that part. I was like, what the hell is the lost city of Nod? And so I mean, I literally looked it up for the first time today to see what in the world it was a reference to.
I like to when he's talking to the worm because he was the worm guy is the one who comments on it, and he's like, I don't know how I'll repay you. He goes, can you wipe my ass?
He just keeps bringing it up.
He's like, nope. He's the only one that doesn't get fixed because he doesn't like macaroons.
Yeah.
So good.
What a great joke.
And everybody's shirt says, I was so-and-so, and then his says, I still am the one.
I didn't notice that. That's great.
Yeah.
There's like a joke in this too that never gets explained because I guess Fox cut it out in the editing process, where at the end when they're at the talk show and Stewie comes out and he's just holding a bag of like garbage that like, so when like next time you watch it, when he comes out at the end, they're just like all, you know, whatever, Brooke Shields, Randy Quaid keeps popping out and they keeps getting shot. The Giants.
That's another like class, like you're talking about like you're not there kind of thing. Just keep on shooting him. Like he just keeps getting up.
So Stewie is just holding this giant like trash bag, like clear trash bag that's just full of shit. And apparently it was going to be explained that that's just what he eats now. And so there's just like this weird thing where he's just like walks in and he's just holding a trash bag full of garbage for no reason. And that's like, amazing. I guess there's just some shit that Fox is just like, yeah, cut this out. And there's also like the joke where they cut into Ricky telling his story and Brooke Shields is just like, oh, well, you know, we have to go to break. You've been talking nonstop for 90 minutes. And the movie's only like
commercial, machismo.
Well, like the movie's only 80 minutes because Fox cut out something like 15 minutes of footage from this movie.
Oh, gosh. Wow. Well, and that's that end part. Again, this was something I noticed for the first time today in our chat earlier. That's why I sent the cover of the Mothers of Invention album, because I know Alex Winter is a big Zappa fan. And so this is just my conspiracy. I'm just making, I'm connecting dots that may not be there. But at the end, when Stewie or when Ortiz comes back and the squirrel is there, and it gets thrown into the audience and starts like ripping at the old lady's face, I immediately
rip my flesh. There you go.
Yes,
yep.
It's immediately what I thought of, and then I was like, oh wait, Alex just did the documentary on Zappa. It's all coming together.
But that's an okay conspiracy because you're not hurting anybody.
Yeah.
I think a joke that I didn't notice until I watched this again last night. It's like I've never caught it. And so they're all standing around at the talk show and it's just like, you know, whatever, wrapping up the movie. And Ernie's character goes to say something and he just leans over and rests his arm on Stewie's belly.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know why, but it just caught me this time. But I was like, holy shit, what a great fucking like physical joke.
Yeah.
The two that were sewn together or stitched together, whatever, them always doing like fucking Three Stooges, like gags on each other. I was like I'm not imagining this, right? They are just doing the Three Stooges bit to each other because they're like, they can't leave. I really appreciate it. It is another like one in a plethora of this movie of just like weirdly specific references that just because they felt like it, I guess.
Yeah.
I also like when all of the corporate guys get turned into like a giant melted pile of goo, and then it turns into like a meat shoe.
Giant shoe.
Yeah. Like I like the little claymation parts too. Honestly, the part when the two get like stuck together really fucking freaked me out. No, like pun intended as a kid. I was like, that's pretty unsettling. And then a dinosaur comes out of it.
Yeah.
There's a Ray Harryhausen shout out.
I'm assuming the shoe at the end was also a very specific stupid joke because of the name of their company. Again, that was something
except shoes.
Everything. Okay. But, thanks, everybody. I just figured that out.
Again, I just thought of that today. There are so many things, and the guy on the plane with the bomb. Like there's a, I don't know if you guys remember this, but when they're on the plane flying to Santa Flan, there's a little moment in the background where the stewardess says, "Excuse me, sir, can I please take your bomb?" Takes a big old bundle of like cartoonish looking like dynamite with like a clock attached to it, puts it in the overhead bin, and then when then there's that scene where you think they're on the plane and it crashes and it explodes upon impact. It's like, gosh, glad we weren't on that plane. In that same scene, the guy is standing there with his bomb again, walking around like he's trying to find somebody, like in the background. It's the stupidest thing, but I was like, what is going
on? It's like the best example of them giving the production company just like they gave the team all this money. And they could have done whatever they wanted to do with the money, made it insane, spend it all on drugs. And they were like, no, we want to make a sincere, legitimate movie that's crazy, but not that crazy. And everyone's like, this is trash.
Yeah.
I love the joke running through the movie that makes no sense because the way he moves, it doesn't work. But like Ricky in the where this light doesn't work, and there's like when they finally turn the light on in the studio, and it's just like a cactus behind him because he's back to normal.
Yeah, that one's pretty special because you've spent the whole movie with him as that, and it's not clear that he's back to normal.
It also looks like they filmed like the earlier shots like with the prosthetic on. Like
yeah, they definitely did.
Like let's just do this, and then it's like revealed, oh, he's okay, and it's just like you said, a plant. Not that I really care. Like
a cactus for no reason,
right in the studio.
It's wild that we've talked about like how much the movie was fucked with in terms of like footage being taken out, because I would have literally no way of knowing. Just watching, like for the first time watching it front to back, I was like, this is a movie full of crazy shit, and most of it makes sense, but obviously there's stuff that you'll catch watching it further times. But like there was no point where I was like, I am definitely following this until this moment. That doesn't make sense to me. Like it's all wacky all the time. So I wouldn't know how you could tell that. I mean, except for the stuff that you specifically mentioned, how could you tell that something was taken out?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely works as like a cohesive 80-minute movie. Yeah. But like,
yes.
So there was a DVD that has a bunch of deleted scenes and like an audio commentary and stuff that I want so bad, but it's about spending $200 to fucking get it. Because I know the minute I do that, they'll announce like a big fancy Blu-ray release. But like, I really want to see what is on, like what deleted scenes are on there, because I feel like if I spent the money for the design work of this movie, I would put every single shot I could into it.
That's anything cut is not going to be something like, I mean, given just how dense the movie is with weird asides and references, like there's not, it does make sense that there wouldn't be a lot of like filler or stuff that doesn't have a lot of stuff to take out of it, I guess.
Like I assume it's all just jokes that like the studio was just like, I don't get this, cut it out.
Well, I'm gonna send y'all in the chat a link, and this is what's killing me is, so I have the Blu-ray release from Anchor Bay, and it's bare bones. It's literally, I think, the movie and that's it, maybe the trailer. But Nathan, to your point, I didn't realize all the extras that were on the DVD. I'm assuming they weren't included on the Blu-ray because they couldn't be made suitable for Blu-ray format in terms of resolution or picture quality. But one of the things that's on there that I just discovered like a couple days ago is there's a full read-through of the movie by the cast, and it's like 100 or it's like an hour and like 23 minutes. So I guess it's like, 83 minutes versus 80 minutes. But apparently, it's got like little scenes and jokes and stuff that were cut out. But it's basically like the cast doing a full read of the movie as
Like
a bonus feature on the.
Alex Winters has the makeup on and just the little like freeze frame.
Yeah. No, he's got like half of it on.
Yeah, I'm definitely watching that.
Yeah. So I would say that's probably my biggest. I mean, I'd be hard pressed to think of another movie that I would want to see, given sort of like the Arrow or Scream Factory treatment, than Freaked. I mean, I don't know who owns the rights. And I think that
Disney has it now because it's 20th Century Fox, so shit's never coming out.
You're right. No. We're never going to see it.
They're like, this is a blight on our Marvel masterpieces.
I don't understand, because they could do a 500 print run.
Yeah,
it would sell out.
Yeah, it would sell out immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it like you were saying earlier, Dylan. It's reached a point now, I feel like, of true like cult status,
and it's rare that a movie can still do that.
Yeah, and there's not much merch. There's not, it's not oversaturated in any way. And so for the people that love this movie, anything new that you can offer in terms of like, oh, here's like behind the scenes, here's production, bring everybody together for a little making of featurette, whatever the case may be. I mean, people, I would eat that up. I mean, I would be all over that.
Like, this movie on Letterboxd has 9,000 plus people that have logged watching it, and only like less than 200 total are 2 stars or below.
Those people are idiots.
Yeah, I just imagine they're just either too old or too young to,
or they wanted another Bill and Ted and didn't get it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
They watched it because Alex Winter's in it, and they're like, "Oh wait, what?"
Like,
their favorite movie is The King's Speech.
It seems like it's a lot of people that are just like, I don't like Adult Swim, and this is like, they just keep comparing it to Adult Swim and how much they don't like Adult Swim. So
then just like, don't fucking watch it. I'm not gonna go and get into that argument.
There is one 1-star review that just says, "What the hell happened to Nightbreed?" which is pretty funny.
I mean, I haven't seen Nightbreed yet, but that seems kind of unfair to Nightbreed.
I mean, it's just Nightbreed's just sort of the same shit, where it's just a regular person, from what I remember, is just trapped amongst a bunch of fucking Clive Barker weirdos. So
sounds like a good time.
It's pretty good for what I remember.
I'll tell you a very like kind of interesting and weird connection that hopefully I'll be speaking with one of these people in the future. So obviously, we talked a lot about the Butthole Surfers being involved in the project, but another band that plays a big role in it is Blind Idiot God, which is a name that I've just sort of like heard tangentially. If you're into obscure music or whatever, it's definitely a name that pops up. And as I'm like reading, I'm looking at the people in it or whatever, I go on reading about Blind Idiot God, and I noticed that one of the members of the band is this guy named Tim Wasquita, and I'm like, that guy sounds familiar. And I click on him, and Tim Wasquita was also in the band Khanate, which Stephen O'Malley from Sun. It's a pre-Sun band, and Tim actually lives in New York, around here. And I was just talking with a guy named Robin who works at a brewery, and he's in a local band, and he's like pretty good friends with him. So I was like, I would love to talk to that dude about fucking Kanye. But now that I know that he's in Blind Idiot God, it's like, holy shit, that's fucking insane. Like, it's just small. First of all, small fucking world. Yeah. But yeah, that's like there's all these bizarre. That's why I also think this is a great movie for fans of like heavy metal and heavy music and weird, like obviously like, yourself, Jeremy, with Qoheleth. Like, this is totally a movie that would appeal to fans of that type of music that, you know, kind of goes for that kind of vibe and everything.
Yeah.
It's not like it's certainly not an artsy film where it would appeal to, you know, I don't know, like a more pretentious audience, if you will.
Yeah, I mean the soundtrack is crazy. Just in terms of, like you said, Blind Idiot God has 1, 2, 3, 4, like 4 tracks, including, you know, like kind of like the title song with Henry Rollins. Butthole Surfers have 2. Paul Leary has a solo track. Then there's like some weird like George Clinton sort of like little super group that did a track, and then an Iggy Pop demo. I mean, it's just, and I think that's where the influence from at least Alex Winter and maybe Tom Stern, actually probably both of them, given the work they did with like MTV and other shows. But I know Alex directed at least a few music videos, including hold on, I'm gonna have to look this up. I feel like he did one maybe for like NWA, maybe, I don't know.
His subsequent career, it's really interesting how it's just like 180 degrees from what Keanu Reeves did, because obviously Keanu would go on to be in, you know, The Matrix, and then have this like strange and resurgence where everyone fucking loves him, and like, you know, he seems like a rad dude. Honestly, I would love to hang out with him. But
he directed an Ice Cube video for Who's
Ice
the
Cube,
Mac.
that's it. Thank you.
But also like 3 helmet videos.
Yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Like,
so I'm assuming part of this was just, and he went to school in New York. So I think he went to a film school in New York. I forget where. Anyway, I'm just assuming that part of that was kind of what was in the ether at the time creatively, and also he just had the opportunity to probably cross paths with a lot of these bands and a lot of these guys. I mean, I'm sure being friends with Butthole Surfers probably opened up some doors as well. So I think that honestly, it's one of my favorite parts of the film. I mean, the credits are just
the opening credits are amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
And the style of animation, I think, what was that guy's name? David Daniels or something. I mean, where he's literally like slicing through pieces of clay, and so like the anime, it's almost, I think it's kind of like stop motion, but instead of like moving, you know, like an armature or whatever, however he's built it, it's like layers upon layers of this clay, and he's like slicing it, taking a picture, slicing it, taking a picture, and then it's all put together. But David Daniels. So the combination of that. Cool. Say what?
It's super cool.
Oh, it's
who does that?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's so freaking cool. And then you get the combination, which, I mean, I like Blind Idiot God's instrumental stuff. I think they're largely just instrumental, but putting Henry Rollins with them as the vocalist was just like a stroke of genius.
Just get Henry Rollins to come in and yell "freaked" a bunch.
Yeah. It's a kick-ass track. Like,
I love it.
And the thing is, like, it starts in. There's no like build up. There's no like 20th Century Fox presents. It just immediately starts. And that's how, like, as soon as the song started, you kind of just get it sets the tone for the rest of the film. Like, you know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna happen, but it gives you the sense that this is not a movie that's going to stop ever. And the movie doesn't stop. It just goes. It just goes and goes and goes. But there's not a part that I feel like is really wasted on anything. If the scene is just sort of like, if it's a joke, it's a good joke. You know, if it's a side character, it's really funny and interesting, and the effects work is great. And then the plot that keeps it together is just, it works. It all works for me.
Yeah, it kind of like goes to along what like John was saying is like how with the amount of time of stuff that was cut out, like you can't tell. Like it's a very tight movie, and like I want to see what that stuff was, just because I'm interested to see where it plays in the movie, because like I don't necessarily feel like anything in this feels like it got cut short or runs too long. It all just seems like a perfect like cohesive runtime for the bullshit going on in this movie. Like I almost feel like if this went like 10 minutes longer, it would probably be too much.
2 hours of this movie would be like we would be talking about how much we couldn't stand this movie.
Unless it was like another 40 minutes added of Stewie getting thrown through windows.
Yes. More punishment for Stewie and more time with Ortiz, maybe.
But... Jeremy, I'm just spitballing here, but if Freaked exists on YouTube in full and no one's bothered to do a copyright strike on it, whenever we get around to doing the next Qoheleth video, I just want to loop Stewie being thrown through a window.
Oh my god, I was
for the entire length of the song.
I was literally just thinking, like, could you imagine like an hour loop of just him getting thrown through the window over and over again?
What you do is you make the loop first, and then you just make it so every time he crashes through is the drum beat for whatever the song's going to be.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, time it specifically to the drums every time he goes through.
Yeah, we're working on a song for a comp. It may be a perfect fit.
Well, man. Jeremy, you have the Blu-ray, so I'm going to leave this one in your hands.
Is like I'm assuming on the Blu-ray release of it, because I watched it. So John, you watched it on YouTube as well. Yeah. So it's definitely not like the best quality, which I think is totally fine because I feel like it helps it. It's like a fossil. It preserves it in that time, but it's still like wonderful to look at. Did they like clean it up at all? Because I feel like, like something that I've noticed, like I've been going through my Criterion collection of all of the Godzilla movies from the 50s to the 70s. And one of my kind of problems is that they've sort of made the movies look too good that sort of you start to notice a lot more of the cracks. And I'm like, yeah, I still love this, but it kind of is the muddiness of the old VHSs helped make them more enjoyable. And it's kind of like, I don't want these movies to be perfect because I know they're not perfect. Like, and I'm totally fine with that. Like, I can totally appreciate that about a movie. So did they do that with the updated one at all? Or is it just, we just sort of like maybe cleaned up a little bit just to make it a little more eye friendly?
It's basically that. It's just, it's a clearer picture probably in terms of, the clarity. I don't even know if that's the right word, but no, it definitely doesn't look like somebody went through and all of a sudden you're like, why does this look like it was shot in 2015? Like it just looks like, the colors are vibrant. It's a good clean picture. And that's
okay.
It.
That's good.
Yeah.
Other than a fear of like someone eventually deciding to take it down, like I'm happy to like, which is why I would want to have it on a Blu-ray, but generally speaking, I'd be fine to have it on YouTube. The only part that I felt like we actually just like kind of closed our eyes was the opening credits because it was really interesting image, but at such a like low frame rate or whatever, it was basically incomprehensible. We're just like, all right, we're just gonna listen to a really good song and then we'll look at it again when it's when the movie starts.
It definitely felt like somebody had recorded like an MTV commercial and then transferred a VHS to digital and uploaded it to YouTube. It definitely looked like that. Yeah. And I kind of don't mind that because I like the old aesthetic, but I totally understand. I was sort of like, man, this is slightly off-putting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think at the screening, he was there, the artist who did this, is it David Daniels again? Yeah, David Daniels. He was actually, they had pieces of it like on display, and I think maybe like you could buy like little chunks, but I mean, I think they were like at least like $100 a pop. I mean, it was something crazy. But he was there. It was cool seeing some of that in the flesh, if you will. So, the artistry on that alone, and somebody brought it up earlier. I think that's the other crazy thing is that, which is just only extends my love for this movie, is for as dumb as some of it is, as stupid, purposefully stupid as it is. Again, everybody who was involved felt like they were bringing their A game to that level of stupidity, which means the special effects, the art, the artistry in it is just crazy. And even like Alex shared part of a story about the prosthetic, about just the time it took to put it on, and at least a couple of the shooting days, wherever they were shooting versus where his house was at the time. Like he had, he talked about one day in particular, like shooting like something insane, like 12 or 13 hour a day. And then by the time he would get home and then have to be back on the set the following day, he would literally have like maybe 4 hours to sleep. And if he took the prosthetics off, it would cut into his sleep time even more. So he literally like drove home with everything on, laid down on a couch or his bed, slept, and then got back up and went back with everything still attached.
All of his drooling in the movie is real too, because the way the prosthetic fit, it just like he couldn't close his mouth properly, so he's just constantly drooling all over himself.
Really?
Yeah.
That's like a really good detail.
I think for me, where I get the most respect for Alex Winter out of this movie, aside from just the fact that it exists at all, is the having to act under half of that much, because he still has to be charming on the one half, but then and be able to talk and articulate, but then like this fucking thing on his head, like it's wild.
Yeah.
It's also just, I just think it's so interesting to look at it as Keanu's doing these things and it's a pretty big deal. What do you do? It's like, well, I'm making this really fucking weird movie. And I'm glad that when you said that you went to the screening, that it wasn't like oh man, I'm like I'm upset to be here. Like, this is the only thing that people is like, I'm glad that they are happy that there's people out there that sincerely love the movie and really do enjoy it. And I was just so pleasantly surprised by how much I liked it too, because I don't always vibe with some of the nostalgia that some of my like older friends have for movies from the 80s or like the early 90s. But I really just appreciated the absurdity of this and how difficult it is to capture that in a contemporary film. Like, there's so few movies of recent note that I think can even like touch the same. Like, I was thinking, like, you know, I also thought of a movie like Psycho Goreman, and I know that is not a movie that necessarily draws heavily on, I mean, it might, but I feel like it's more of an 80s, it's drawing on more of 80s films and whatnot, but it's still like that idea of the effects heavy type films that were coming out, and they were low budget in the late 80s, definitely trickled into the early 90s as well. There's definitely that market of early 90s direct to video or like limited release effects types films, and then that just so quickly died out by like the late 90s, and all that stuff is like virtually gone. It's been replaced by Asylum, and a lot of those movies just fucking are trash, right, Nathan?
Well, I mean, like, if you look at it, it's really, if like as fucking great as the movie is, I think Jurassic Park was the nail.
Same year too.
Well, yeah, no, that's Jurassic Park came out after this, a year after, so 93, 94. I believe. Did Jurassic Park come out?
No, Jurassic Park came out in 93.
Yeah,
did it? I don't know why I thought it was 94. Like, that's when everyone started being like, well, look what CGI can do. And it's like, you know, yeah, Jurassic Park looks fucking incredible. That CGI is almost miles ahead of a lot of the shit that gets done with CGI now.
Yeah, like this in Terminator 2.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I don't know. It is also cool seeing stuff like you brought up Psycho Goreman, where like Steven Kostanski's just like pushing forward with like, no, I'm gonna do physical just as much as possible.
Yeah,
and like bringing kind of like this makeup style, all that shit, kind of back into a lot of the stuff where it would be so much easier to just make all of these creatures CGI. But like, why do that when you have liquid latex you could use and just like mold it to whatever the fuck you need and make some weird fucked up like space alien with a fucking tube for a head.
Or Sock Guy, where it's literally just, I mean, it's brilliant.
That's genius. Like,
and having Bobcat Goldthwait do his voice was perfect.
Yeah.
I need to see some more of his movies. Has anyone seen his Bigfoot movie?
I haven't yet.
He made like a Bigfoot horror movie, like it's like a found footage Bigfoot movie.
Wow.
I heard it wasn't bad. I'd like to check it out.
Yeah,
they made that weird America's sort of anti-American spoof type film.
I remember when that came out. I've never seen it, but I'd like to.
I don't know. I just like I've never seen the whole movie. I just like the clip where he's in the Godzilla suit from whatever that is.
He's an interesting dude. I'm glad he's getting the kind of revisit from people, because he's like one of the few kind of comedians from that era that kind of genuinely seems like an actually good dude. And so like he does like a shit ton of directing work, like a lot of the stand-up comedy specials that come to Netflix, and like a lot of TV work. So, and like, I don't know, I feel like there's been like a kind of renewed thing, especially because I think he does a lot of like It's Always Sunny episodes, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, does he?
Nice.
I think so. I could be wrong, but I know he does a lot of TV stuff.
Like writing for it?
No, like directing episodes.
Oh, nice.
The Bigfoot movie is called Willow Creek.
That's what it was called.
Yeah.
Okay. I had no. I mean, if he does Sunny, that's amazing. I don't think I realized.
I think I could be wrong on that. It's been a minute since I've looked at that, but or like what he directed TV wise, but
right.
He did a bunch of Space Ghost Coast to Coast. I know that.
He's done Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
Fun.
What a king.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, good movie, great movie. Highly recommend. If you like practical effects and weird, crazy shit, and just a lot of like really random but well-known people showing up in a movie, I strongly recommend it. I don't know, if you like punk rock and heavy metal, you'll like this movie because it's weird. Because everybody who listens to that shit is weird.
I mean, I think like you said, you kind of just stumbled on it. Like Psycho Gorband, I know a lot of people watched that this year. Like, if you liked that movie, I think there's a good chance you would like Freaked. You may not, if you're younger, get like a lot of the jokes in it, because there's a lot of shit. Like, I can't imagine people in their 20s know what a really big shoe is.
Dear God, I was like, holy shit, like that one. I felt so old. I was like, oh, I understood that.
I don't think I got that one.
The guy said show. When he said show, he said he sounded like shoe. So people would say he's got a really big shoe when he meant to say show. That's all it was. That's all it was.
Yeah. This is fucking old people jokes.
They get recycled as references that me as a kid is like, this is what humor is.
The Simpsons ruined an entire like.
You know what I want to do at some point? I want to do a double feature of this, and I feel like, and I don't know if the audience has crossed over at all, but I feel like this and Tank Girl would be a lot of fun to watch.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I could totally see that. Tank Girl was another movie that I remember turning on on a cable and just being like, why is Naomi Watts in this movie? And why are there kangaroo people? Is that fucking Ice-T?
Yeah.
That's Iggy Pop.
Yeah. I feel like and I think they were only like a year apart in release, but I feel like that they would be a lot of fun together.
Like this, Tank Girl, and Tremors. With Tremors being like kind of the most realistic of the three, but it also hits that like perfect like creature feature cult vibe that's the right running time with a great cast, and it's really well written, and the vision and the special effects are like there's not a lick of animation in that movie, and it's so good.
My double feature, Freaked and Airheads.
Oh, that'd be fucking tight.
Yeah.
I think I said it pretty much at the beginning. I think I'd probably do this in UHF.
Yeah,
UHF that would work too.
Yeah, that's a great call. Yep.
So, thanks for inviting me to talk about Freaked so that I could watch Freaked and discover how fucking amazing Freaked is.
Oh, I'm happy we got to do this. Like,
I'm so glad.
I was really up for the challenge of this because sometimes I just feel like I don't vibe with movies that people get like so amped about, but like this movie 100% lives up to its reputation. I was so thoroughly impressed with it, and we have to get like the sloth shirt somehow. We have to make that happen.
That was another one where I was like, how have I never realized that? What the hell is a burrowing sloth? I mean, it's just, again, so stupid.
It's a great bit that fast forward to like 5 years from now and everyone will have those shirts and we're going to be recording, be like, doesn't it suck how much people like Freaked? I hate this movie.
I would never say that like I would want for this to have succeeded and change people's lives. I don't know about any of that, but if we're looking at what did happen, it does mean that we are allowed to have this conversation without having to talk about Disney's reboot of Freaked, starring.
Give it time.
Well, yes, this is why we can have. This is why it's a nice moment now to talk about it before someone figures out that, hey, you know what, we should reboot is Freak.
It's gonna be the Blumhouse remake where it's just like dark and gritty and stars. Fuck, I don't know, young actors now. It's Finn Wolfhard.
Oh, that hurts. Yeah, it's gonna be him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Timothy Salami from Dune.
Here's the thing, though.
He's too much of like a real serious actor, I think, to do something like this. Finn Wolfhard seems like he's got enough of a sense of humor that like he would get like what Freaked is. I feel like Timothy Chalamet would be like, this is below me.
He'd be like, I'm an actor.
Well, that's the one thing I was going to say is that if this were to ever be remade, they would have to include, they'd have to have somebody who's in on the joke of just how much they parody and eviscerate celebrity culture. And I mean, because that's basically the whole thing. Ricky Coogan's character. I mean, he's a spoof and a riff on child actors / I mean, he's basically like a Haley Joel Osment or a Macaulay Culkin before.
Macaulay Culkin. That's who you cast.
Yeah.
That's who you get as your lead. Like, I think he could do it. Like I think Macaulay Culkin seems to be self-aware enough to be able to.
But that's what you would need for either a remake or something where you'd have to be in on the joke that like half of your character is just eviscerating celebrity culture,
like all your friends in real life.
Right, exactly.
Or just have it as wherever they do that for every single legacy sequel that gets made 20 years later, and just bring the original person back. Get Alex Winter back in there.
He would play. He'd be in the sequel. He would basically have taken over the Emporium. He would have taken over. Or
I don't know. I would certainly vote firmly like this movie. It would be very hard to remake this movie because the vibe is just so specific. And even if you were to get someone who were to make like if you really were like do Freak but set it in 2021 or 2022, like make it relevant to the topics at hand, I'm sure someone could pull it off, but that commentary doesn't hit the same way. So that's why, I mean, good luck if that happens.
Big Shoe wasn't relevant in 1993 when the movie came out.
It would be really big shoes to fill.
It was literally like a joke that like Krusty on The Simpsons makes numerous times because it's like so old and out of fucking style at that point.
Like you could basically replace Really Big Shoe with Waza.
I was gonna say
that's you'd have to reach back about that far for it to have the same effect.
What's depressing is the remake would be all jokes that like I also don't get because it would be from like 2005 and it would just be like shit that I don't know because I wasn't seeing commercials and stuff then.
Right.
Oh God, what a kind of unfortunate and thing to recycle from. I feel like that's like the new thing. Like people are really getting, like, I know the 90s craze might be over and I think people are trying to dip back into the early 2000s and it's like, it wasn't great.
No.
Yeah. No, hopefully this never gets remade. And
I don't see how that would even be possible. A
basic reissue would be nice. on Blu-ray.
Yes.
That's all I want.
Please, Vinegar or Arrow or someone. God, that'd be
someone
amazing.
Just liberate it from the Disney vault.
Yeah, it'd be incredible.
That's free. I guess you guys want to say, like, again, who you are, and if you want to plug anything that you're involved with, because we're not involved with anything, right?
No, I just manifested out of thin air.
Go, John.
My name's John, and I do a movie podcast called Cinema Duel. Jeremy and Dylan have both been on it. We talk movies. Sometimes we talk artsy-fartsy movies. Sometimes we talk about real dumb shit. It's a good time. We try not to pigeonhole ourselves too much, I guess, into any one particular thing, because sometimes we gravitate towards artsy white director dudes. So we like, we got to do something that's super dumb just to mix it up a bit. So if you look up Cinema Duel, that's the podcast that I do.
Yeah, if you want the opposite, where it's a podcast where somebody pigeonholed themselves into just doing absolute bullshit, you could listen to my podcast, I Hope You Suffer, with my co-hosts Kit and Katie, where we watch shit with names like Dead Sushi and Monster and Tsunami and
Slaw.
And Slaw.
And Cockface.
Yeah, Dylan was on an episode. Dylan's been on a couple episodes, but he had to go watch a movie called Cockface 3.
I didn't have to. I could have said no. I watched it.
Sorry, Cockface 3 implies the existence of Cockfaces 1 and 2.
No,
Yes.
Actually, the first two movies, I believe, are just called Grime Wave, and the third one's called Cockface.
One of them's called Gorgasm, one of them's called Grime Wave, and there's Grime Wave Cockface 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was like the worst thing I've ever watched in my life. It's the worst heavy metal tangential film.
Also somehow isn't the worst movie we've done.
So that's impressive.
Well, we had Ant Farm Dickhole.
I was thinking Ant Farm Dickhole is probably my candidate for worst movie you've watched.
Content-wise, Uwe Boll's Blubberella is probably the worst we've done. But yeah, you can listen to I Hope You Suffer, pretty much any podcast thing. And we have a Patreon if you want to look that shit up. And that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm Jeremy, and let's see. I have a couple of different music projects. One, Qoheleth. It's a noise rock experimental band with a couple of my buddies. You can find our stuff on Bandcamp. John and I have collaborated on a few different videos for that. And I'm also normally in the process of chopping up other video footage and stuff I can find to work on different video projects. And then I have a solo sort of outlet called Ain't Pancakes that basically I do a lot of like kind of like noise and glitch kind of mixtapes. Also available on Bandcamp. I think that's it.
And I'm Dylan. I do Diary of Doom, which is a weekly doom metal focused podcast, and just launched a Patreon as well, diarydoom.com/Patreon. Where you can listen to deep dives on bands and analysis of fucking pigeonholed stupid ass movies, which is what I'm probably going to be doing for the most part on there. But hopefully you'll check that out as well. And you can follow that mostly on Instagram and visit website. There's pictures and old episodes and whatnot. And you'll find it out there. So
right on.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on. Wanting to cover this movie on something for a long time, and it just keeps getting pushed back on I Hope You Suffer. So,
no, it was a true delight, and I'm really glad that I got to relearn about this hazy memory of mine.
No, this is one of my all-time favorites, so this was a blast to be able to talk with you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
very cool. All right, I'm gonna go to the Ramada Inn, steal a towel.
Get some towels.
Love it.
Hey! Am I my own? I see you staring at me. see a freak. I want you to see a real freak. I want you to look at someone who looks just like you. Yeah! I saw you looking at me, and now I stare right through you. You know I feel no pain at all. It's not a game I'm playing, it's not a line I'm saying, 'cause in the end I freak you all. Freak, 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 yeah! Yeah! I'm someone that you call freak. I'm someone that you call freak. You know I'm a freak all over the place. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And I'm jumping into your waiting arms right now. Yeah!
Hey man, I'm really freaking out. Get the freak trip, man.